Yeah, hold on. I gotta get like a video of a video. This is what we're actually trying to do for the podcast.
Welcome back to the Financial Illiterates. This is episode number 2 of the video and some larger number, maybe like 17-ish of the actual podcast. That's spelled Illiterates. I did not forget it. I did forget it. So first off, if you're watching the video one, this is going to be a little bit weird. This is our first remote one, and it's extremely strange because I'm just talking to the camera and I don't get to see Justin's beautiful, beautiful face this time.
Hey, thanks for the compliment.
Oh, it's sarcastic.
Well,
So
at least
it might be a little bit weird that way, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good. And look how good everything looks here. It's all set up. And then look at Justin.
This episode will at least be better than the last one, I think. Well,
oh man, now you're setting the bar so low.
Well, actually, it could be worse. We'll see.
That's true. It could be. So today we wanted to talk about a topic we were discussing the other day, being patiently impatient.
Yes.
Yep.
And managing your impatience. So that
managing your impatience. That's probably a better way to say it.
You don't do stupid.
Yeah. Thanks for that editing there.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
Yeah, managing your impatience. So oh man, it's gonna be one of those days, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be.
It's gonna be one of those days. Yeah. Okay. So we were talking about managing your impatience. Specifically, we were talking about you starting to get very impatient about becoming financially independent.
Yes. Yeah. It started to hit me, and just the feeling of impatience because I wanted everything right now. Like I had my financial goals laid out, kind of where I wanted to be, what financial freedom looked like, and a rough path of what it would take to get there. But then I was just thinking, I was like, I want it all right now. Like I'm so impatient and I want to make this happen as quickly as I can, like today or tomorrow. But it's going to be like a 5, 10, 15, 20 year commitment to this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that led us to a conversation where I got to explain my impatience with my goals, because I would definitely classify me as the impatient one and you as the incredibly patient one on our journey.
Maybe it's just been lately. The roles have been reversed.
I would definitely not call them reverse. I'm still incredibly impatient.
Yeah.
But that's what led us to the topic of being like patient and impatient at the same time. I watched a really good video by oh my God, why is my name blanking on $1 million listing dude? Ryan Serhant. So Ryan Serhant's vlog, if you don't watch it, it's actually a pretty good vlog. He did a video and its caption was something around patience. And then in the thumbnail, it actually said, "I'm the most impatient person ever," which intrigued me. And the timing of it was great since this is what we were going to talk about. And he described it very, very much how I feel, where I actually want to remain impatient. I want to be constantly every day thinking that it should happen today and I need it to happen today, whatever that thing is, whether it's my financial goals or a project I'm working on, whatever it is. Like I'm just impatient. Like I want it to happen now, but at the same time, I don't want to be macro impatient where I make stupid decisions or I do bad things to try and reach those things. So it's like, I guess it's a little bit the Gary Vee thing. Does he actually talk about this?
He talks about being patient. Yeah. That's one of the things he regularly talks about.
It's something like micro speed, macro patience or something like that.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Wow. Yeah. No. Okay. So podcast done. Gary Vee's already done it. Let's, bye guys.
Go listen to Gary Vee content. But no,
it's that exact topic where speed in the micro, but understanding that all that speed is still going to take a long time.
Yeah. Yep. And it sounds like you are really using your impatience as a tool to help you get to those macro goals.
Yeah. I don't think any of it was really intentional. I'm just like kind of impatient.
Yeah. Well, I think it was getting to me recently. You know, we both have these big ambitious goals of, you know, financial freedom and generally just a good life for ourselves and our family. But it's just like, I guess I got a little too caught up in the views of social media and the other stuff on YouTube and the internet of, you know, there are people our age that are 10, 20, 30 steps ahead of us and kind of like seemingly at where they wanted to be or where we want to be. But us, at least me, I was like, damn, what can I do to make that happen? At least what can I do legally to make that happen? As well as morally and ethically.
Yeah, and that's
just like I wanted it all right now because I wanted that satisfaction. But yeah, it at least this past week, managing my impatience was a challenge.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you. Sorry, my dog's like getting into something upstairs. He's for sure getting into something. Whatever. It's interesting that you bring that up because it was actually like one of the main premises in our concept behind the Financial Illiterates was like, there's all of this content out there, these social media people, blogs, YouTube videos, like everything out there, and everyone's already done it. So it's all like, here's how I would start over again to get to where I am today. But none of it is like, is this moment right here where we want to get there, but we're impatient. We want to do it. And like, these are the struggles that I feel like people overlook and don't remember whenever they start looking back on things.
Yep. And I think for us, like we've got to be, at least me, really mindful of one, managing that impatience and then not doing anything irrational. I want to say like making too many emotional decisions with finances. Like for me, one of the things I battle is like, I get a lot of joy from cars. I think that's been pretty well established. But in the past, I think I've spent a little bit too much money on cars. But I'll constantly go through that thought of like, you know, cars are a tool for socializing as well as just fun for me. But I should not be blowing a lot of money. Like I should have a smaller budget for cars, I guess, and for fun than I did in the past. So like this week, I was thinking through like what do I have to do to afford like that small taste of fun with cars, and then also not thwart my bigger financial ambitions.
Yeah, and it's definitely hard. Like I struggle with this with slightly larger things, but houses. Like you know, Kimmy and I are looking at buying a house probably the next year, and we've looked at some pretty ridiculously sized houses, and I've like one of the things I constantly have to ask myself is, do I want that house because it's a big freaking house, or do I want that house because we would actually use and enjoy that house? And I think like that's sort of one of the questions that you have to continually ask yourself to avoid those like bad moves of impatience. Because a lot of times, for me at least, the feeling of impatience leads to wanting to portray the success that I'm impatient to get, which is like, you know, fast cars, big houses, all the stuff that you see on Instagram, right?
Yep.
So it's like, how do you avoid buying those things, not altogether, but for the wrong reasons?
Yep. Yeah. Like another Gary Vee thing, like I'm not going to go out and buy a car to fuel my ego. Like his thing is like, yeah, you shouldn't go out and buy a new BMW just to feel good or like to kind of show off. Right. Thankfully, I think we're past that point at least.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it past that point. You know, the temptation to buy things because your income's a lot higher than it used to be is constantly there. That's why for me, like YNAB and a budgeting tool like that's so critical, because without that, like, and that's where I was before this year really, is it's so easy to just be like, I'm just going to get that one little thing on Amazon, or I'm going to get this one little thing at the store. I'm going to buy that one piece of camera gear. And then all of a sudden, like that's how you've increased to a point where you can be making, $100,000-$200,000 a year and living paycheck to paycheck, which is exactly where I was. So like for me, the budgeting tool comes in as a critical piece to avoid this. And then now that I know that there's a budgeting piece, I actually only have this amount of money that I can spend. And if I reach past it, it has to be a conscious decision, not an emotional, impulsive decision.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. I think for me, at least, I was able to reel it in, at least some of my impatience without making dumb decisions because of a budget or budgeting tools. Mm-hmm. Because I was able to look at the numbers and say, hey, it would not make sense for me to spend X amount on a car because it would, thwart my financial ambitions for at least this year. But, like if I played around with something, I'd be like, okay, I can allocate, X amount. So I was, at least with looking at my budget, I was able to manage impatience without making any dumb decisions, so to speak.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like what we're saying is we avoid dumb decisions by budgeting.
Yeah. Sounds like start with a budget.
Interesting.
Go back.
Yeah. Start with a budget.
Yeah. Financial literacy. I guess we're on.
What other strategies have you found yourself using to avoid making impulsive decisions?
I want to say two things. The first one I mentioned was going back to the budget because I don't want to spend money that I don't have. And then the other one is very much to what you spoke to earlier, is reminding myself of the macro goal or like the ultimate ambition and where I'm trying to get to. And then tying that in with a budget, I would actually be able to see, if I made a so-called dumb decision or spent more on a certain thing than I should have, I could potentially see, like how much longer will I delay that ultimate goal of financial freedom? Like,
I think I do something really similar. When I look at buying, let's take the house example, right? Like how much cash am I going to have to put in to buy that house? Buying a house, I just assume I'm not going to profit anything from that. So it's not looked at as an investment, which is a new thing for us. But I look at how much cash I put into it, and then, I do that calculation that you and I like to do all the time where we take that number, we multiply it by 0.06 to figure out what it would earn year over year at a 6% return, and see if I'm okay putting that money off. And then you plug it into a compounding interest calculator, look at it over 10, 20 years, and like see how that impacts it and whether it's worth it.
Yeah. So I guess math helps us manage impatience.
Yeah, it's like cost benefit analysis, right? Like what's it going to cost you, not just in cash, but in future cash? Because $1 is worth a lot more now than it is in 20 years, both because of inflation and compounding interest.
Yep.
So just like being aware that that's a thing and figuring out what that value actually is.
Yeah. Cool. That is
wow. That actually felt like a pretty good podcast. I think like that was a good topic.
Hey, it was at least better than last week's.
Anything is better than last week. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
But have you signed up for the newsletter yet?
Bear with us. Yeah, that should be coming out at the end of next week.
It should be if Justin, gets that done.
If Justin starts to check Basecamp.
If Justin starts checking in on Basecamp, then maybe that'll get done.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you wanted to cover on this one?
No, other than not sarcastically, I think we both look beautiful on this podcast.
I mean, that's very true. That's very true. I just got my hair done today, so
for this
that
episode.
was money I shouldn't have spent.
I think I'll just start shaving my head so that I don't have to go get haircuts.
Oh man, and I don't know about this. This place is like I don't know why it was so expensive. Okay, so we're gonna go off on a tangent here about haircuts.
So
I like to get my hair cut at a salon because salons actually give you good haircuts, but you have to find a salon that's also got people with their barber's license because they do men's haircuts. But then on top of that, you have to find a salon that's not ridiculously priced. I did not find the last one today. So I got a haircut appointment scheduled. Kimmy scheduled my haircut appointment because I'm just like, I'm the worst at scheduling these because it takes like an hour with travel and getting it cut and everything. And I'm always just like, man, but I could get so much work done in an hour. So she scheduled it. I paid for it. And I look and she tells me the price says it's going to be $50. I'm like, what? I text Kimmy the second I leave. I'm like, did you know that it was going to be $50?
How often do you get haircuts?
Not as often as I should.
Like $50 a month for haircuts?
Nah, it's like once every 2 months.
Okay.
It's still too much. I know. When you look at it through that lens, it's actually not that bad. Anyways, that's enough about haircuts, because this is not the haircut illiterates or whatever that would be called.
Yeah. Financial haircuts.
I don't know. All right. That's it for today. Then, as always, Gustin Jabriel Trobrock on Twitter, thefinancialilliterates.com. There will also be a link in the description on YouTube and the description in the podcast for the newsletter, and the Financial Illiterates School is coming soon. Keep an eye out for that. Anything you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
Nothing other than bye.
Oh, one last question. If you're watching the video version, are you watching it on YouTube or Instagram TV? Do you like one over the other? And also, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. And we will see you guys next time. Bye.